and whoever else I might not have mentioned, please come to the stage. Dr. Voyisile Pehane, are you around? May you please come to the stage? Let's check the seats first. Okay, let's make sure that everybody's got a seat. And lastly, may I request someone from the Innovation Hub to please be ready to come to the mic when I call you. Unfortunately, there are not enough seats in the front, so wherever you are, I will call you, Dr. Oboko or Dr. Puti. Before we begin the program, we have to follow the protocol, so may we please listen to the video of the ICC on safety and security matters. Thank you.
Welcome to the Durban ICC, where the world meets Africa. As a leading world-class events facility, we make your safety our #1 priority. Please give us your attention for a few minutes to take you through some important health and safety information. As the Durban ICC is a public space, please remember to keep your personal belongings safe and with you at all times. We have many bathrooms for you to use around the venue. They are clearly marked in the foyer and concourse areas. The Durban ICC is a smoke-free building, but we do have clearly marked smoking zones outside the main entrance and in the courtyards opposite the concourse. Please make use of these areas and the ashtrays provided when you smoke. In the event of a medical emergency, please dial the emergency number 031 360 1111 for assistance. The Durban ICC has developed a very simple emergency evacuation plan that everyone must be familiar with. Our staff are specially trained and will be there to assist you in following this plan. In the event of an evacuation, an announcement will be made to leave the venue. Please remain calm and walk swiftly to the nearest emergency exit in the concourse area. These exit doors are clearly marked. Security guards and the marshals will also help direct you out of the building. Please do not use any lifts or escalators in the event of an emergency. Once outside, you will be directed to the nearest assembly point by the marshals for your safety. Please wait at the assembly point until the venue has been cleared and a marshal deems it safe for you to return to your seats. Thank you for your time and enjoy this event.
Thank you. Good morning again. We have a two-part program. The first part of our program is about the startups that we had, the pitching that they did, and whatever happened thereafter. The second part is what we call the Durban Declaration. I will talk to you about it when you get there. To avoid Dr. Msomi taking your words from your mouth, I will invite you to the stage to come and just give us an introduction and explanation on why are we here, what is it about, and how did it all begin. Dr. Msomi, to the stage. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for lasting this long. It's been a hectic few days. Thank you. You guys are winners, and the startups are all winners. I've been asked to describe what the startup ecosystem is all about within the BioAfrica context. And as you would know, and I think it will be announced later, this is the first year that we've launched the startup pitching, but it's not the first year that we've been engaging with startups. And from the onset, we've always known that one of the engines or the drivers of the development of biotechnology industrial or economic play is via the startup route. And from the onset, BioAfrica has always been about embracing the entire continent. So you will hear from the judges the diversity of locations from where the startup come from. And we are very grateful for the presence of many of our colleagues from across the continent. It really augurs well for the future of biotech in this continent. About the prize, you would have, those who attended most of the convention would have seen or heard from some of the world's leading experts in venture creation, in supporting venture capital and the like. And the fundamental issue around a prize, whether you give it out as a monetary prize or you give it out as a value that is usually bought through money. So the prize is structured in such a way that the winning startups and some of the ones that get honorable mentions will get access to world-class services and maybe capacity building opportunities. We have the likes of Dr. Stephen Banting having offered their services. He is is a retired venture capitalist, but was very successful having co-founded Abingwet, which funded Solexa, the underpinning platform for Illumina technology that dominates the world of genomics today. We have, as one of the judges, Wilmot James, who works in investment and venture financing, mobilizing diaspora capital to support ventures in the continent. And we have a number of others. The other part of the prize, as I said, is corporate advisory, because that's what the money is used for in the main. Marketing and branding, and all of that. And the idea is that the prize will be gauged according to what those services cost in the marketplace. And the individuals that provide those services will be readily available. We've had a long discussion last night with some of the leading lights in startup ecosystem building in the continent about what do startups need, particularly as they are spun out of the stable institutional base. And that the real need is in terms of providing the connectivity with that base, with the strength of that base, but maintaining their independence. And that's why the prize is structured in that format. More importantly for us, as Africa Bio, is that we have managed to engage with partners. So a substantial number or a significant number of the startups from the east coast of Africa, East Africa, their presence here has been funded by an international partner, GIZ. And part of what we're doing is mobilizing capital, not just financial capital, and you would have attended the session that spoke about mobilizing strategic capital, because that's what is mostly needed. I think there's a lot of money around. There's just not enough strategic capital. And these connections are going to play a very strong role going forward. The other issue around the Pan-African play, startups often are bound by their geographical locations. When you create a system like what we're trying to do here, our startups, I'll use Daniel Ndima because I can abuse him. He already won a prize. He doesn't have the capacity to access markets in East Africa or West Africa. But these past few days, with interacting with like-minded and similar startups, he would have made partnerships that enable him to increase his market access. That is fundamentally what this is about. And lastly, you will hear when the Durban Declaration is presented, the role that startups are expected to play in developing our capacity as a continent. When we say resilient Africa, leveraging innovation for health and food security, the fundamental truth is that we have to move away from the big plays and remember that to be big, you have to start from somewhere. And that pretty much evidence suggests that everywhere you've successfully built an industry, not just biotech, but any industry that is based on knowledge, you have to spin it out of the knowledge bases, which are universities or research institutions. And the spinning out methodology is usually startups or spin-offs or spin-outs. The name changes with every generation. I'm pretty sure there was another name 40 years ago, but it's a similar phenomenon. You can trace it. Can we switch off our phones, please? Because I had crammed the speech. Now I've been, I'm going to have to say thank you, everybody, for coming here, because I can't remember the rest of the speech. I cannot. But yeah, good luck to the winners, and I hope that we'll have a good breakfast. And just to remind you that the conference ends at 1. There are still going to be quite a number of interesting tracks and conversations today. It's not the end today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Msomi. Luckily, I don't have to cram anything except for the names of the panelists. I think the key issue that Dr. Msomi mentioned is that it's all about partnerships, bringing in the different partners from all over the world into the African Center. And some of the key people, or one of the key persons that we brought in this time around, Dr. Watu Omaye from the Africa Oxford Initiative. We had her yesterday during plenary, and we're going to ask her to just come and give a word of encouragement to our entrepreneurs that participated yesterday, those that were fearful to participate, but also those that want to play the same role next year. So over to you, Dr. Watu Omaye.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. This is a very, very special moment for me. It's an absolute pleasure to have been invited to talk about the startups, because that is what I live and breathe every day. And I had the privilege to attend a number of sessions at the pitches, and I was absolutely blown away. For starters, we had 36 startups that were presenting, and they were from around Africa, from about 10 countries in Africa, including Lesotho, Uganda, Namibia. And on the platform that I run on health innovation, one of the things we really push for is to have people from around the continent who are able to come in and exchange and, the thinking and collaborate and bring different perspectives, because the whole space is really about learning, unlearning, and relearning. So staying open and being happy to be challenged and hearing other perspectives and really understanding context and meeting people who have already thought about very clever and ingenious ways of fixing problems in their context, and sharing that and the know-how, and also the willingness to build different new pathways that don't exist, that can only be built by people who really understand the nitty-gritty of the problem that they're trying to address. And the second thing that was very, very impressive is the desire to really understand from the perspective of the people for whom the solution is being developed, what their actual need is and the problem, to really understand how they go about what it is that they're trying to engage with. Because very often what we have found in the past is that there are people who want to solve problems, but basically what they have is a hammer looking for a nail. And the approach I saw here is absolutely not that. It is what is needed, to empathize with the person who is going to use the solution that you're creating, and to really get into their mindset and then begin to work around that. And it might be different from where you started, so the importance of being very open and willing to unlearn and relearn. And you might come with the tools that you have and the knowledge that you have and the thinking that you have of what the solution is, but very open to be challenged and to think differently. And in the startup world, we talk about pivoting and bringing in new ways of looking at your problem and then remaking it. So I was very, very excited because what that is really telling me is that people are very much focused on impact. And they are very willing to move away from being rigid and to be flexible and to really, really create that impact that we all know that we need. And the final thing that was very, very impressive is that there are a lot of people with a very strong understanding of the knowledge base and the way that they might actually engage with it, because at the end of the day, what you really need is to use the knowledge we have to come up with different ways that really speak to our contexts. And so we saw a number of people who are using very, very top-notch science and finding very, very useful ways of actually making it work for us. And so I'm very happy that we had this startup for the first time, and the energy that was there, and the drive to actually engage with one's own problems in one's own continent. And I think that what we understood from that is that this is something we need to really encourage and think and create a pathway where perhaps every time when we have this conference, we can actually take it to the next level and begin to really, really see big solutions coming out of this convention and being a shining light across the entire African continent. So with those few words, I have to say this was one of the most special moments for me because I saw the energy, I saw the enthusiasm, I saw the knowledge, and I saw the drive. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Wamaye. The resilience of the African continent is going to be driven by Africa's ability to innovate. Yesterday, Dr. Msomi did mention that we brought 5 experts in the space of innovation and investment to tell us who they think is the winner of the pitching session, but more important, to advise our startups on how best to package their innovations into future enterprises. So I'm going to ask the judges now, in any form that they want to come, just to come and give us their impression of what they saw yesterday and how they think going forward SMEs need to consider in this kind of environment. So I'll ask Senisha to just come. You've got 1-2 minutes each. Just tell us what you saw and what advice you have for our startups. And then the other judges can follow afterwards.
Thank you, Dr. Sia. I think I'd really like you all to just give a round of applause for all of the 36 startups that pitched across Africa. I think they were absolutely amazing. From my perspective, I thought it was absolutely amazing to see so many young people really looking at transformation. There were young people, a lot of females present, and a lot of wow factor. It was just amazing to see South Africans amongst other African colleagues pitch. So for us, I think the judging criteria was pretty important for us because we had a 5-minute pitch. Not many questions could be answered, and we had to make very, very clear decisions on who would be the winner of this competition. So what we looked at, firstly, we looked at what would really set the scene in Africa and be really a disruptive technology. And for us, that was one of the key things we looked at in terms of disruptive technology. We also looked at what would be the most scalable opportunity that would not only be scalable in South Africa, but Africa and globally. The third thing we really looked at the technology readiness, where are they at, the IP, and we also looked at who would have real market access across the continent. I think for us, the team played a critical role to see the development in terms of the team they had and the capability and skill that the team had. In terms of the Sustainable Development Goals, we really looked at how would this link into the Sustainable Development Goals, bearing in mind we've just come out of COVID, what would really have impact in terms of zero poverty, no hunger, and how could we play a serious role in terms of the Sustainable Development Goals. I think our panel was really made up of experts from around the globe, so I really would like to say to my panel members, it has been discussions. We spent a long night really, really looking at who could be the winner. So I think for me, all of you are winners, but definitely there were a few startups that really stood out in the crowd. So well done to all of you, and we're looking forward to seeing the announcement of the finals. Thank you. I do have with me our Emory team, if I can call them up, just to hear their take on judging the startups. Bethany and Brooke, yeah.
Hey, I'm Brock with Emory Ahia.
I'm Bethany Larkin, also with Emory Ahia.
And we had the best time being able to sit there and go through each of the startups, so many incredible ideas. We placed novelty very highly and impact very highly, as well as, the potential profitability of the ideas. And it was, it was just really great to get to know each of the startups, and they put so much into it, and I feel honored to be here to be able to sit on the panel.
I think the last thing I would add is, we started out our trip here with a 2-day workshop with many of the startups that actually presented, and it was great to kind of see that journey that all of us are on from you have this great idea, and how do you start translating that to address a problem, develop a solution, and then get it to market. So it was a really great opportunity for us to kind of see that come alive in a great way. So thank you. We're very honored that we were able to participate, and really look forward to announcing the winners shortly.
One of our judges had to catch a flight back, and that was Noah from the SMME Chamber of Commerce. So I think he also gave his input to us, but he's just sorry not to be at the moment. I'd now like to call up our Kenyan judge, which is Wilmot, if he can come and give us some of his experience during the judging. Thanks, Wilmot.
Good morning. I'm Wilmot Allen from America, but living in Kenya. And I'm just thrilled to say that all of the contestants, all of the companies and entrepreneurs are indeed winners. And I won't be long. I just want to offer this. One of our principles in terms of theory of change in helping entrepreneurs scale their enterprises is connecting them, especially those in the life sciences and healthcare, to experienced professionals throughout the continent and the diaspora. And so I want to pledge that we will continue to work with you. I offer some complimentary hours to all of you who actually were part of this to help you continue on your successful entrepreneurial journey. Thank you.
May I call to the stage now Dr. Mpumi Oboko from the Innovation Hub, or Dr. Chilopo Mkobozi, if you are here. I can't seem to see any of them. Okay, good. So we are now going to move to announcing who the winners are. I think it was said that all of you guys that contested yesterday, you are the winners in one form or another. And do not feel that just because you didn't make it yesterday that your enterprise doesn't have a future. It has it, but unfortunately the 3 that had to be ranked amongst the others. So I'll ask the judges, whoever you've chosen to come and announce the winners, to please do it the way that you want to do. Thank you.
So like I said, it was a little bit difficult for us to get to the stage, but we really do have an announcement to make to include 3 of the other startups that there will be support offered either from the panel or other partners that we've identified to assist them. So I'm going to start it like any judging thing. I'll go backwards. I'll announce the winner last. So I'd like to call on the stage. Before I make an announcement, there's one thing I'd like to say that as we worked with a number of international partners, there's a number of accelerator programs that have been running across the country or in other countries. So internationalization plays a huge role in terms of development of our African startups, and we've kind of seen it come through the ranks of these programs. And one of them being our Global Clean Tech Innovation Program that has been a partnership with UNIDO for the past 10 years in Africa. And it started actually 10 years ago in KZN. So I just wanted to say we hosted it a week ago in KZN again, and I think it's absolutely amazing to see how we've transformed through that kind of programs. So I'd like to announce that we found there was an honorary award for a startup that really pitched with passion, but also will make a huge difference in a sector that has been identified as one of the Economic Recovery Plan sectors, and that's really looking at hemp and cannabis in Africa and on the continent. So I'd like to call upon AgriSmart. It's our honorary award to Constant. AgriSmart, if he's in the room. And then we looked at what is the next place? Okay. If you can take a photo. Okay. Then the next one we looked at in the biotech space, we really felt that in terms of inclusivity and diversity, there's no ways the future doesn't lie in gene technology. And we found that Gene Vantage really, really very impressive, and we do know that there's partners that we could connect them to. So if you could call the lady that pitched on Gene Vantage, thank you. And then in second place, we really looked at another one of the countries that are really playing an impact role in terms of social impact and huge impact, and that was the Pathology Network from Kenya. Congratulations. And then I hope we have a roll, one of those drum rolls for the winner.
Here's another one.
So the winner really, like we said, it really was about impact, the greatest impact. It really was about a biotech solution, and it really was about a scalable solution and really a disruptive technology. And the winner is Iraka Biotech.
Please proceed towards the podium.
Who is it?
This is one guy. This is one of the guys.
Okay. Yeah. And congratulations to all the winners. So as we want to appear in the future as photos, so can I ask then all the judges to please come to the front, and we'll ask the entrepreneurs to take photos. Number 3 with the judges, number 2 with the judges, the winner with the judges, and then all the winners together with the judges. So we'll start with...
He wants to slide down, being part of the picture.
Okay, AgriSmart, can you please come to the front, and you'll take a photo with the judges right there, and then we'll go to number 2 in that order, and then number 3 in that order.
Let's stay in touch. Congratulations. Congratulations. Let's stay in touch.
Number 1, no, not all of you guys.
Yes, I think so.
AgriSmart first, AgriSmart only, of the winners, AgriSmart. Okay. Tweet your way there.
Come next to me, sir. Can we sing together? Where's Cornelius?
He's at the end. He's here.
Please don't forget to smile. Come for free.
Listen, them say, them tell you say you can never be the one. God say, make I tell you say now you can choose in 1 month, in 1 week. You will sing a new song in 2 days, lesser than you will hear. Congrats.
Thank you. One round of applause for our winners as they leave the stage.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you guys. We may now leave the stage, and thank you to our judges that participated yesterday.
Yeah, so let's sit down.
As you now leave the stage, we'll now call the second session.
You're in the glory of God. Congratulations.
Not yet. I've been here for 7 years. I should be on
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Can I now call upon the stage to Dr. Vuyisile Pehani from TIA to give a vote of thanks to our judges, to our panelists, to our entrepreneurs, and to everybody else that wants to thank. Over to you, Dr. Pehani.
Good morning, honorable senior members of government, delegates, guests, and students. I'm humbled to have been asked to give the vote of thanks at this momentous occasion, that of the Startup Breakfast hosted by the Bi-Africa Convention 2022. We're reminded this morning of who we are here to honor, our startups from all over the African continent. This is an acknowledgement of our recognition of the role of startups in the development of economies, the development of innovations, the commercialization of products and services, the creation of much needed jobs on the continent, and their contribution towards the GDP of the continent. We're reminded of the role to be played by startups in guiding us as governments, funders, the private sector, and academia, of our role in the continental system of innovation, in essence, that of connector and facilitator. Through this convention, we are called to recognize the role of women in economic development and social cohesion, and to unapologetically support women in all facets of innovation. Our legacies should never leave the youth behind. We will be asked tomorrow by our children what we did post-war, post-independence, as leaders of government, to prepare the table, as it were, for our children. In our roles as leaders, nothing stops us from doing what is right for our countries and for our continent, nothing at all. This convention has brought us together once again after the pandemic to share thoughts and ideas about how we realize the resilience of Africa post the pandemic and well into the future. As Africans, it is upon us to shape our future and position the continent appropriately on the globe. I wish to give thanks to the Department of Science and Innovation, our partners Bio, Africa Bio, the leadership and staff of the Technology Innovation Agency, all the sponsors, and key opinion leaders for your unwavering support of this convention. Many thanks to the City of eThekwini for allowing us access to this venue and for their very generous hospitality. We look forward to a sixth, bigger, bolder, inclusive Africa Bio Convention led by industry with very strong anchor partners from the private sector, not least of which is venture capital and private equity, which we know are very vibrant on the African continent. The future is ours. Thank you very much.
As I said before, it's a two-part program. Now we're going to the second part, which is going to be the Durban Declaration, and Dr. Msomi will tell us more about it. So can I call to the stage the following persons: Dr. Giorgio Rosino, Dr. Ahmed Omar, Dr. Wilmette James, and Dr. Robert Karanja. As they walk towards the stage, can I ask Dr. Msomi to come and make a few announcements about our program for today before we then go into the Durban Declaration? Dr. Robert Karanja, are you around? Thank you. Wilmot James.
Just some housekeeping rules. It's inevitable that things change in such a high-packed program. 5 days has brought a lot of changes to the program. I just wanted to give some updates on the room numbers. For track 10, building social capital, it's room 22, those who are interested in attending that. It includes going global in and out of Africa, as well as diversity in clinical trials. For track 11, it's room 11. That includes the MOU signing between the University of Venda and ICGEB, as well as science diplomacy for Africa and the revitalization of the Gauteng bioeconomy, then the launch of the biopark. Track 12 is in room 12. It's one of the regional innovation systems for economic development. For KZN sugarcane value chain master plan for East Africa, the startup ecosystem in the East African region, and the Western Cape BioCity will facilitate a panel discussion. And the last track is product demonstration. We hope that this will be developed further in subsequent conventions. We have Dr. Ntutsuko Pengu and Mr. Rama Rao, who will be demonstrating block cube concept, which is a blockchain financing mechanism for clinical trials, particularly in resource-limited settings. So the blockchain is a world-class platform that can be extended to our setting. And so I look forward to seeing that. Those are the announcements for this morning. And of course, it would not be a good party if we don't have cocktails at the end of it. So you're all invited to cocktails, proper cocktails at lunchtime. Otherwise, you will start bad-mouthing Devon and say we didn't treat you well. So we'd like to invite you to that. And
thank you, Dr. Msomi, for the changes in the program, the announcement. So I'm now going to call Dr. Giorgio Rosinio to come and tell us what is this declaration and what's it about. Myself and Dr. Peane will then leave the stage and allow them to expand on the document declaration. Thank you very much.
I'd like to invite Dr. Rogino and Mr. Wilmot James to the mic. Often when you have conventions like this has been a very revolutionary, groundbreaking convention. I was hoping that Dr. Watu Amai would join us. I don't know why she's not here. You were being sidelined. Eh? They say you've had too much time on the mic. So we've prepared a short declaration, and this is pretty much around the theme of the convention. It's been a consistent theme over the past 5 years. So in the past 2 or 3 days, we've had an opportunity to meet between different parties. And last night we met the Africa CDC director around this issue of local development and manufacturing. So we have to remember that the two are interconnected and to create an ecosystem across the continent, because no one country can do it on its own. So the value chains based approach to say that which parts of the continent can play which role, which institutions, and start to create this type of collaborations. But I don't want to steal the thunder from the person who is, call it the inspiration behind all of this, Dr. Giorgio Rogino, who will explain what the concept is. It's a Durban declaration because the initial conversations or dialogue started here between different parties. It likely will be launched later in the year, but it would have a resonance, or rather a reference point back to this convention. I'd like to invite Dr. Regina to explain this. And by the way, those who do not know him, he is the developer of the Gene Expert technology platform, or rather diagnostic platform. And he is the founder of Foundation for Innovative New Diagnostics, as well as the Global Alliance Against TB. So we're talking about somebody who's done this, is not dreaming about it like some of us. We were taking chances. George.
Thank you so much, Laszlo. I mean, it's a great opportunity. It's like a dream coming true. You know, I've been, as Laszlo was saying, associated with the creation of different product development partnerships, the Global Alliance, FIND, even the African Society for Laboratory Medicine. And coming here today and thinking about an African product development partnership is really a dream, you know, something that we have been looking at product development partnership to move the agenda of developing new tools, new products for Africa particularly, or for poor people in general. And, but this product development partnership has always been based in Europe, in America, and elsewhere. We never had the chance or the guts to come up with the idea of having an African product development partnership, which would be led by Africans, being seated in Africa and answering to the African patient needs. And this would cover not only drugs, but diagnostic and vaccines. So we've been nurturing these ideas for some time within Laszlo. And finally, we think that, as you say here in South Africa, Sekunjalo, the time is now. Because with the COVID and what is happening currently, and there is this big drive even from people that would oppose these ideas about local manufacturing in Africa and developing capacity in Africa. Now it's changed completely, and people are pushing for this thing to happen. And we have African institutions that are so strong, like the African CDC, the African Medicine Agency, and NEPAD, and the African Union. And all this is so encouraging to make sure that the time is mature enough to be able to sustain the idea and push the idea forward to develop a product development partnership. And could have never been a better place than BioAfrica to launch this, and in front of the African entrepreneurs and the science entrepreneurs. And these guys, you guys, I mean, you're going to be the engine of all this, because there's going to be private sector and ideas, science-based, and you are the one that are pushing for this. And of course, government will have to play a major role, and the institution will have to play a major role. So we had the discussion yesterday, and I think we came to the conclusion that there should be some sort of an announcement that the time is mature now, and the sort of declaration of Durban Declaration with the commitment from the partners and the participants at the conference that we will all work toward the establishing of a product development partnership. And hopefully when we come next year, there will be sitting here the new management of the product development partnership with the very clear ideas of what will be achieved. Thank you very much.
In 1 week, you will sing a new song. Today.
So, thank you, Giorgio, for that. We look forward to this new partnership that is being formed, and indeed, Sekunjalo, the time for Africa is now, and we cannot wait any longer. We look forward to that. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the program for this morning. We're going to break into our breakaway sessions. We start at 10 o'clock, I think, and we'll then meet again at closure. I think someone did mention that there are cocktails and so forth. For now, enjoy the morning and participate in all the sessions. Thank you very much.
In 1 month, in 1 week, you will sing a new song. In 2 days, lesser than you will hear. Congratulations.
Morning, everybody. My name is Blanche Lishong, the CEO of Iraka Biotech.
And I'm Dr. Cornelius Kano Semakalu, the Chief Science Officer at Iraka Biotech.
So the purpose of Iraka Biotech is to improve access to animal vaccines. The problem that we are dealing with, I think we've heard about it throughout the conference. There's an increase in antimicrobial drug resistance and a lack of access to quality vaccines. And this is causing the disease outbreaks in animals, which causes poverty and economic losses. The challenges of being able to improve the access to vaccines is that the cost of production is quite high. Cost of development is quite high. You need a lot of capital to set up a facility. And then also the method of production currently uses chemicals, which contributes to the cost. And also there's growing demand. Currently the world has a population of 8 billion people, which requires 500 million tons of animal-based protein per annum. We also see that there's a 300% increase in antimicrobial drug resistance, and also there's a reported zoonotic diseases of more than 200 reported zoonotic diseases.
So now the question is, how do we address such a big problem? Currently, like we had again, we experienced the COVID outbreak, and we were looking for solutions to meet that problem. And well, if it's anything that we should take from here is that we have a silent pandemic going on, which is due to antimicrobial drug resistance. You go to the hospital, they'll have to scan a lot of antibiotics they have to find the right one that would work for you. Viruses are adapting each and every moment, and there is a need to create new molecules to meet this demand. But we know that vaccines work. The question was, how do we make a solution accessible at the point of need? How do we localize vaccine production? Well, at Iraka Bio, we developed a system we call PIT, and it's got a trademark on it, PIT. PIT stands for Photonics Inactivation Technology. So with PIT, we're able to reduce the costs of producing vaccines and enabling the localization of vaccine production. So PIT will enable that, will ensure that each African country that struggles with vaccine access is able to meet their vaccine needs locally using the pathogens of local relevance. So the problem we're solving is worth $16 billion annually. And it's not been easy getting this developed, especially in Africa. And the one thing that has really helped us get there is the partnerships that we've forged with the public and private sector, where we get our system tested at centers around South Africa, and with the support from the agencies, Technology Innovation Agency, Africa Oxford Health Innovation Platform, the Irish SA Agritech Program, Department of Trade and Industry. They've all helped us get to where we are. We do have a very good MVP, and our pre-commercialization system will be out by the end of this year, and this can be made available to any partner that would like to walk this journey with us on the continent. So we are very honored and we are grateful for having been here, and a win for us is a win for all of us. Thank you.
So there you have it, our startups for 2022. I'm just going to see if the lady from Gene Vantage is here. Don't think so. So yeah, thank you so much.